Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, my brother?
Man, I'm back, baby. Hope everyone missed me, but I'm back. I am back from my scouting duties for Made Hoops. I was up at Holy Cross College seeing a ton of our guys from the area playing up there. So funny that you brought up the title of this topic tonight. But excited to talk about it. Let's go, baby.
That's right. And the topic tonight is, you know what I'm saying, Chuck Buttermilk. It's hot topic tonight, baby. I see you in the chat. Uh, can New York City afford to keep its players?
This
Let's
topic.
see. It's the hot topic tonight. Let's go. Coach, what's up, man?
Man, it's so funny. I was just thinking, I feel like so much has happened in between. Uh, but, I was getting calls as I'm in a gym in Holy Cross, sitting there with my guys from Maine. I'm getting calls from people going, "Hey, man, I got to talk to you about tonight's episode." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm trying to scout this. And then all of a sudden, the next morning I'm getting calls while I'm watching even more games. You had the city going crazy, man. What was going on and the last couple days, man? And even though we were talking, we met and we did some games. The last episodes have been crazy. You got to talk about it a little bit.
Man, first of all, I want to make sure my volume is up. Ayatollah Beats, I know you listening. Make sure my volume is up. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Make sure my volume is good because a couple of episodes, you know, I felt like I was the guest, man. You know what I mean? Nah. I felt like I was the guest. But anyway, we had some great guests, man. Last Friday we had Coach Tiny Morton, right? And then we had Coach Scooter Thomas, uh, up here, and we was talking about the business of basketball. Dope. Appreciate you. We was talking about the business of basketball, and then the state of New York City basketball, right?
Yeah.
Tiny was giving us, the inside behind the business of basketball, how it is now, right? And Scooter was giving that input of a parent who raised a student athlete in this climate of bad advice crew, NILs, rankings, and all that stuff to land him a scholarship that's going to put him in a position to grow his game the correct way. So I thought those were two guys that would come up here and we can have some good conversations. And then the comment of the night, baby, JV, and the city went mad. Like the city players look like JV on his skill. He wasn't talking about the skill set, but once you start getting into, he started mentioning the stepping acts and OSL and Lou High and everybody else was kind of like JV. A lot of people took offense to it. But like I told them, the great thing about that is the city started talking. It started to come up with some solutions. Even though, a lot of people agreed with his comments, a lot of people didn't. And look, I don't mind shaking up the room. Sometimes you got to shake up the room to get some kind of order or
Mm-hmm.
get some things straightened out.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, with all the drama that was coming behind those clips that I put up, the next day, no, that Sunday, I invited Randy for NYC Prospects and Isaiah Lewis from the ILTD Skills Camp
Yeah.
to come up with some solutions
Mm-hmm.
and put up clips from that. And people had comments to say about those things,
Oh,
right? But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I believe in shaking the room up sometime. And, of course, I always say this is New York's platform to come up here and speak your piece, good, bad, or indifference, right?
yeah, absolutely. And the opinions that you've had, these last four guys that you have on, they all have unique perspectives, whether you agree with them or not. And they've been around a ton of basketball. And when you hear that comment like JB, in a lot of cases, like, he's definitely not wrong. I mean, there's tons of times where, I'll walk in the gym and I'll be like, I cannot believe that there's like no kid over 6'2" on a team, and it's like, uh, is that just because that's the area, or any kid with size has left the area? You know what I mean? Especially with some of these public schools, like, you really don't have a say. Especially out on Long Island. Sometimes in the area for the PSAL schools, some of the smaller ones, you only have certain pockets, right? Pooh, who's there? Who is going to be, in your program?
Look, what people say behind closed doors, he said in a public forum,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What a lot of people saying in these small conversations, he said it out loud.
yeah.
And look, I told school I support him, and I'm going to bring him back on for some more discussions. And he agreed, so we're going to have him on, very soon. But that led to other conversations. Last night, I had a conversation with some league insiders and some other scouts from some sneaker companies, for a particular sneaker company. And I asked the question, because I asked Tiny this as well, and Scooter. But I'm going to ask the platform and ask the chat. Can New York City afford to keep its players? Now, we got to start really asking ourselves these hard questions, because we're soon going to be what the small schools and mid majors are for the big time programs, feeding grounds. And we may be feeding grounds for the rest of the country. The OTE, the Scholastic League.
Mm.
Because kids feel like I could get a check there. Or I need to play against better competition, which I think is a farce, because sooner or later you're going to play against better competition. You're going to have to play against competition regardless.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, have we watched anyone in the city where we've said they're so dominant that they need to go somewhere else? That's kind of yet to happen, you know?
And then I say, let's check around 2 or 3 years from now and see.
Plus, at the end of the day, Pooh, I'll comment about, maybe going to these leagues because you're right. It could end up being a feeder to that Scholastic, the OTEs, and the prep. You know, like, but are you playing there? Is my question.
What do
That's
your
my only.
stats look like? What do your stats look like?
What are your minutes like in that box score, man? How naked are you in those box scores, man? Those are you are out in front of everybody playing 3 to 5 minutes of mop up duty. You know.
But then we got some other guys, the Kamari Whites, right, of
Mm.
the world, the Lucas Murillos of the world, who are performing well on their platforms in their schools, right? Anybody else?
Oh,
Anderson Diaz.
there were some absolute killers up at the weekend from New York. I mean, there's some really talented kids that you just like haven't seen in a while. I mean, Blair was just absolutely incredible. Newman was incredible. That game, it was just such a high level basketball game, Pooh, with so many Division 1 players in it, and Toby Owaka's younger brother's on Blair. Your guy Archbold played fantastic and looked like an absolute star. Who's from where? Staten Island, right, Pooh?
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
so I mean, there was just in almost every game, you felt like there was a
Well,
kid.
both Archibalds left the city.
Yes, yes. you know, one's in Blair and one's at Hotchkiss, I believe. I think we were talking about that. He's a great, you saw uh, Maxwell Grimes from the PSAL doing his thing for Suffield. I mean, every game, like I said, there was a kid from New York or the area kind of stepping up out there or having a big impact. So you could see it out there clear as day.
So, what do you think? Because you're out there, right? You seeing all the kids playing the different May tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are you seeing that is the biggest difference why kids are leaving?
The difference why kids are leaving, I think you kind of nailed it on the head with what you said. I think uh there's a lot of people giving these kids advice, a lot of kids pulling after these kids that are trying to get them to their programs. I think that they've also seen these programs have seen a lot of kids kind of move in the area, so they know that this is a place where they can kind of target kids. Kids are kind of looking for that step up in competition, or maybe a place that they believe takes it more serious, or maybe like you said, maybe getting a check, which is something, that's something new and completely different, you know? So I think those factors that you were talking about are all the reasons why these kids are leaving, Some people, some scouts consider Long Island a complete joke. Some people are down on the city, and some people are worried about, like you said, is any kid worth his salt staying or is he gone? So there are definitely some people who are hating and doubting on the area, but at the same time, we got what 10 kids already committed to Division 1, plenty more, and there's still plenty of opportunity for college, recruits to really score on some kids in the area because while others kind of sleep on them, other guys kind of rise and step up.
Yeah, in order to pay a high school kid, you got to do it under the table, right? I don't think you can legally pay kids in the Catholic school league. They have rules, uh, and just the money because they really got to pay for the kids' education.
Yeah,
Then what comes after that, right?
yeah.
They're not getting any big donors. You got a school like Stepanek and Iona Prep who has loads of cash.
Mm.
But then Lucas Murillo was at Iona Prep and he left.
Yep. Iona Prep had just lost Dylan Callahan and Ray Fernandez too. So guys are leaving anywhere to kind of, like we said, it might be the just the advice crew, just trying to get these guys to move out, and it's like a new challenge, it's like an upgrade in their recruitment. I don't know. Between you and I, Pooh, I have no problem with these kids going to these places, but I would graduate from the Catholic League first. I would prove to everyone that I am a top 5 player in the Catholic League. I'm the man. I'm ready to win a championship. Prove you're a winner. Obviously the Stepanak boys are looking to create history. Maybe that's why they stayed together. Like where's the passion to be an all-time great from your school? You know, I just feel like that's kind of disappearing these days. Like, there's no reason to rush to prep school. You know?
Yeah, man, that passion to win a championship kind of gets swept under the rug, right?
Yeah.
Man, it's the money gonna disappear sooner or later, but the memories of winning that championship is gonna live forever in your psyche.
Yeah.
I
And
still talk about mines, and it happened all the way at 86, and I still have bragging rights on that.
100%, and exactly right. Sometimes it's more than a check, and I understand that everybody's money situation is different. I would totally view it differently as a kid if when I was a kid, but at the same time, you are in no rush. You're in control, and there's always more room down the road if you want to try that avenue. There's like you said, build great memories, go to prom, you know, have friends, be an all-time great, be able to come back whenever you want, and really be an alumni of the school. I just think there's a lot of value in that. I also think that, college programs are looking at that as well. I think they're starting to notice when all these kids are at like their fourth or fifth school and in their junior year of high school. It just shows that they're going to be active in the portal. It almost is like a prediction of the future, but we'll see. I think New York has a lot to offer. I think that while there are people who hate, I think there's a lot of scouts that really like the kids in the area as well.
Buttermilk 420 Farm said, "How many New York City players will make it to Division One NCAA?" Right now, we have it was 10. Now I know it was 11. Now it's 10, right? And it's just December, so we don't know who's going to sign late, who's still getting recruited. So we still figuring those things out right now. Yes, NIL is legal in New York State, but do the schools have the money, or do the schools have the clout to get outside monies or corporations to come in and invest in these kids so they can stay? That is the question. That's key.
And do you think like the league would do well at potentially like with NIL if they kind of got involved with that, or you think they'd have nothing to do with that? Because I think people would want to sponsor the Catholic League. I think there's a with it too at the same time, and when the PSAL is right, the PSAL is also super attractive. I think as well when these guys aren't knocking each other down. I think they put out a pretty good product too.
I just think the Catholic School and the PSAL want too much control, and I think it may be certain rules to prohibit them from getting involved in that. I'm not too sure of that. All right, but I know it's definitely a money issue.
They're changing their rules, right, Pooh? I mean, it's a different era, it's different times. I'm sure they never thought that they would be competing with leagues, giving their players tons of money.
So you can't transfer from the Catholic school to another Catholic school without sitting out. So they still keeping their old rules intact.
Yeah.
So if a kid can't transfer to another school, he's leaving, or he's going to PSL, or he's breaking out, just leaving the city.
And Long Island did the same thing. If you didn't transfer after your freshman year, it was basically impossible for you to play. Possible. Unless you didn't play.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Look, Sierra's dad, listen. We didn't say New York City kids can't get paid. They're just leaving to make sure they get paid. Now, if we are in the mecca of basketball, we're in the biggest market. How are the kids not able to get paid? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So let them get the bread early to start to understand contracts in high school. Yeah, look, but this is what we're saying. How can we make sure that we can afford the kids? Where's the money coming from? That's what we need to know. Where's the money going to come from to keep these kids in New York? I asked a question the other day. Could New York keep another Anderson Diaz or Deron Rippey from leaving the city? Or Chris Jeffries from leaving? And the answer that I got was emphatically no. No. They will be gone. And this is why I want to tackle this topic tonight, because yesterday with the league insider and the shoe company rep, that kind of opened my eyes to that.
Step for Stepanak and Luhai you're talking about, right?
Excuse me?
You're talking about keeping a kid like that besides Luhai and Stepanak.
Right.
Because I would say Jervis, right? And then I would say Mingo, right?
True.
But still, super rare, right? Those two programs are top 25 in the nation.
Yeah. I remember Jakar having that NIL deal, but that came within the season, and I don't think that was a stipulation for him leaving the city. He was already at Eagle when he got that.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Kiyan Anthony have he had NIL?
Kiyan Anthony had it. Ian Jackson was and Chopper were the first ones to get NIL deals.
Yeah.
When they was at Cardinal Hayes.
Correct.
They still left.
Yeah. Well, they got a serious bag to leave, right?
Okay.
What is your response as a coach, Pooh, when you have a player like an Ian Jackson or Elijah Moore, and they've been with you the first 2-3 years, they get to a certain level, and then they come to you and say, "Hey, I have a place offering me, $100,000 to go there." What do you do?
You gotta take the bread, and this is why I say, can we afford it? Can we afford to keep them? Right? Because again, you mentioned this earlier, B. You said you don't know what kind of situations people are in.
Yeah.
And this day and age where money is scarce, right? Prices are high, taxes, mortgages, everything is up. Rent, everything is up.
And I would have been so excited for someone to pay me to play sports, and I could give the money straight to my mom. You kidding me? I probably would have taken a bag too. I don't blame the kids. I don't. Every situation is completely different.
Most definitely. So can individual students on teams have their own sponsorship, or does it have to? Or does it have to be the whole team? It could be individual, for sure.
Absolutely.
But we gonna need that one player to make an example for everybody else to say, "I'm staying." What do you got that offer me? Because I'm staying here.
Man, I would say, I would try and say, it depends where they want to play. I would say, because to me, I think with our ability to travel, I think with our ability to kind of, like you said, market, if we do it the right way, if we can get behind players instead of in front of players, or I'll go, but I got to go with the player. You know what I mean? One of those situations. I think it could work in New York. I totally think it could. I think the competition's good. I think the league has talent. I also think that the youth in the city is exciting as well. I think there's a lot of potential in the younger classes.
Well, let's revisit those kids who got that first NIL deal.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Jackson and Elijah Moore.
Yep.
They moved on from Cardinal Hayes to OSL.
OTE.
Jelly Fam. OTE, right? They got paid again. Right? They got paid to go to the school, then they got paid again by OTE.
Mm.
Elijah Moore went to Syracuse. then transferred to Utah, and now just left Utah.
Correct.
Ian Jackson went to North Carolina, and now he's playing well at St. John's,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody was, you had some people saying he was a one and done at
Correct.
some time, at some point,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Do you think that money played a part in them moving from school to school to school, and in the transfer portal? Did that influence their? Now we don't know. We just answered the question.
Yeah, I think if you start to have those conversations in high school, I think you start to look at it differently. I think as you start to get paid in high school, you look at the sport differently as well. I think that uh, it was a smart move by them to kind of make the move. And it's funny, both of them were kind of shaky to start. Moore ended up deciding to leave, like you said. Captain Jack sticking it out, kind of pushing through and getting to the next spot, which is he's looking to do. But at the same time, both a little disappointing, like you said. Do I think the money had something to do with it? Maybe, maybe not. Probably no. I just think that those are two kids that had to grow up kind of fast, and I think that they look at every opportunity for them to take advantage of. So I guess Elijah sees something else, and hopefully Ian can capitalize and maybe make that jump to the draft. We'll have to see, but I just think both of them are too early in their story, Pooh, to kind of give you an answer on that.
You know who's caking out there?
Talk to me.
Boogie Flan, $8.6 million. Did he leverage his game and his playing style and his maximum ability and his marketability to his, the potential that he could have in the 2 years that he's been playing college basketball?
And it's crazy, right? Like who you say that, and so many people, like you just said with Cam Jackson. Oh, did he blow his chance at the pros? Like with the NIL money and how much money these kids can make, it's really like life altering money. They make so much of it. There's no rush to go to the league. You can be an RJ Davis, make a ton of money, score a ton of points, be an all-time great in college, and then still have a chance at the league. So why not, right? I think it's totally a different path now, and I think some of these guys appreciate an older person, and it's hard to be one of those one and dones. We see the freshman class is unbelievable this year, and it might work out, but a lot of times it doesn't. So make your money, right, Pooh? And I think you're right. I think Boogie did leverage it. And for all the haters, he's making a crap load of money, you know?
So did Kyrie Walker, and he's coming back to college. Yo, what the? Hold on, Phil. Hold on. Kyrie Walker spent 4 years in the G League.
They're bringing back some real old school names that I never thought I'd hear of again, man. It's really wild what they're doing with these G League guys. I mean, they're so old, and it's absolutely nuts. Mid-year, too, they're picking up guys. It's wild. Free agency in college, just insane.
And no matter how well he does in college, the NBA is not going to give him a chance because they was like, man, you're in our G League, and so what?
Of course not. It's just a win. It's just a win in college and help the coaching staff out. And it's so funny, I just am so immersed in the college GMs. I want a position so bad to go against some of these guys. I'd love to bring in a team and I'd fill it with tons of New Yorkers and the right guys and have a blast with it at any school. I really would. But, man, these rosters are insane. The guys with eligibility, the way that these teams are constructed are absolutely wild, and it's every like week it's a new story about somebody adding somebody.
It's crazy.
Not
T. Dollar said the fact that Rippy and Jada are both from Brooklyn and neither of those greats are at a Brooklyn school is very telling. Yeah, signs of the time, baby. Signs of the time. Elijah Moore had a reported NIL interest, including a potential large deal from Syracuse booster Adam Weissman. But he's not at Syracuse no more, and he's neither at Utah.
Yep. Yeah, looking at his next opportunity, trying to get ahead of it, I guess. But like we said, it's hard to have your stock go up when you're not performing. But there's a lot of guys who have bounced around the portal, and some New Yorkers have kind of stepped up. Some guys get lost, but I Chopper's a guy I think he'll bounce back, especially if he gets an opportunity where he's on the court. I think that would be the best thing for him. But that's something you got to learn from the portal, Pooh, right? We talk about it all the time. As great as these programs sound, like he just said like Jada and Rippy leaving. Like Rippy left, but he went to an unbelievable program where he knew they were gonna build around him, focus on him. Never like out recruit him, bring in guys that could help him, and the coaching staff does an awesome job with him and has really let him grow his game. And Jada was at a Brooklyn school his whole career until just now. So it's really hard to say he wasn't a Brooklyn cat, for 4 years and got discovered in a Brooklyn school in the PSAL, right?
That's real, man. That's so true. Well, I'm glad we was able to, touch on that topic and, again, give people an insight on what we're seeing on an everyday basis here in New York,
Yeah.
right? With kids leaving and jumping ship. What up, what up, what up, Basil? And knowing the obstacles that they're up against.
Yeah, and you nailed the big reasons. The competition. You mentioned the leagues that specifically are targeting our players. And listen, there's some of the top leagues, right? Pooh? We have to call it what it is. Some of the companies that you talked about are fully backing these leagues. And that's why we think someone's got to help the Catholic League, someone's got to help the PSAL, just to be able to provide some resources, maybe on top of just an education or something on top of for being a member in the league. I think there's a lot of opportunity to market commercials. I just think that they got to make an adjustment with what's going on nationally because the league's just going to get worse and worse as we keep getting pillaged.
Listen, let's keep it real, y'all. There's guys on in that Scholastic League that's on those teams that ain't getting no burn.
None.
These guys at OTE that's not getting burned. There's a
Correct.
lot of guys that's sitting on the bench right now in the top leagues in the country,
Yeah.
playing against good competition every day.
And Pooh, or their team's not even being talked about. Great, like they're marketing the crap out of the number one team in the country. That's awesome. But are they ever mentioning your team? Are they ever writing about how well you guys are doing? That's my biggest point.
How many kids gonna get lost in the sauce no matter where they go? No
Correct.
matter where they go. Trust me. Everybody not gonna get a scholarship.
And Pooh, when you went to your new school, right? You go to a new prep school. You don't know anybody, right? You just kind of go there on a hope and a whim. How hard is it to not only produce there and be effective, but to crack the lineup and be a consistent guy in a scenario that's brand new to you and that you're just picking up within days? It has to be hard.
Fortunately, I didn't have to go through that situation, but there was guys in my and we had a McDonald All American and Perry Carter on my
Right?
team, right? So you got that extreme. You got guys that went to Eastern Michigan, myself with the Philly Dickinson, guys with the Indiana State, couple of guys with the Division II, but there were a few guys that didn't get a scholarship.
Right? And for you guys that never got an opportunity and they were sold that dream and they thought, oh my God, I'm going to start, I'm going to be the guy. And it's just how basketball works. It doesn't work out for everybody. That's what kids have to prepare for and have to look at things realistically. Am I going to be a guy there or am I just going to be a total backup plan if somebody gets hurt? You know?
So does it really matter if you leave or not? Like let's be honest.
And Pooh, it's like an AAU program, right? Like, oh, great, I play in a sneaker team. How often do you play? Well, I average about 3 minutes a game. Great, awesome. Are you getting better? Awesome. Are you playing? No.
It's all hit or miss. It's all hit or miss.
Yeah, and I just think so many kids waste that high school year and just say, yeah, I'll focus on an AAU and then do the same thing. You have to get on the court. You have to develop. You have to get better. I think playing time is so appreciated by some of these handlers and kids.
Listen, let a kid stay, dominate, do what he needs to do, create his superpowers, right? Because a lot of times kids don't get to use their superpowers. And then you get kids who have programs, you
Right.
know, you hit the ceiling or you hit the wall. I won't say the ceiling. You hit that
Yeah.
wall, right? That you know that you got to push through because that wall could be broken down. It just depending on how hard you work.
Right. And Pooh, how many times we watch Stepanak, who has some of the best players that we've seen, and they have off nights. I mean, it's just how basketball is and how these kids are. There's no dominant kids in the PSAL, dominant kids in the Catholic school. We watch these kids have off nights. It's what their flaws are that they lack consistency. You know what I mean? There's tons of kids that are Division One players littered throughout both leagues that can give guys tons of problems, and that's what's great about the league is there's competition still. I just think that everybody wants to chase certain things, like you said, that competition, that money, that name, and I think that it's really getting in the way of some really talented kids.
2 years in a row, Josh Rivera's still coming off the bench and he's still right there. He ain't leave.
And I mean, if you ask any college coach about Josh Rivera, they say such great things about him, and I'm talking about high major programs. So they understand, and that's why you got to give Rivera credit because he sees the bigger picture, and people know how talented that kid is, despite being around such kids. That's why Dylan Perry goes to Monmouth and has Manhattan dying to get him too. It's these guys are our rotation guys compared to the stars. It's wild. That's how impressive that program
All right, all right. We done gave y'all that. Now it's time to get back into what we do, right? Okay? We
We had a busy week, man.
man, we had a busy week. We had a busy week.
A lot of
Um
stairs this week, Pooh. A lot of stairs this week.
we started where did we start at this week?
I think we started at Lachlan, did we not?
Yes. Yes. Let's
Yeah.
talk about Lachlan and Holy Cross, who's down at Florida at Coral Springs right now in Florida, kicking some butt. All
Yeah.
right? And before we talk about that, let me just give you the score of what Holy Cross is doing. They beat Coral Springs 66-52 in the Crew Classic down in Florida. Peyton Wilson had 14 points. Donovan Medley, 14 points. Jazir Crawford, 12 points. And Devin Bay, 11 points with a balanced win attack.
Man, you love hearing it. And, when we saw them play, Peyton Wilson was unfortunately out for the game. So you kind of were looking for some guys to step up. And, hey, that was a really good game you picked because Lachlan's not a program that we've been around a ton. Me and you have a ton of respect for that place. And it's just a place I want to be great again. I think it's had so many talented players there, and it was great to be back in that gym once again. From coaching all around, I had so many great experiences in that gym. I was telling Pooh, and just to see them play cross again and be tough was great to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, again, they both came out flat.
Yeah,
But the fact that Bishop Lachlan only scored 5 points in the first quarter hurt them.
it killed him. Yeah.
It hurt them so bad. It put them so far behind. So by the time they caught up, they still was still trailing because Holy Cross wouldn't give up. They just kept putting the beats on them.
Yeah, and I mean Cross, uh, I just think has a lot more depth, and their front court is a lot tougher than I think people realize. And as me and you start to see a bunch of different programs in the league, they have a really nice combo in that front court. Those two forwards do a ton of good stuff, man.
Musa, Stephen Cox, right?
Ton of good stuff.
Then you add Peyton. Woo! It makes
Right?
them tough.
Right,
Makes
a
them
hundred
tough.
percent, 100%. They're dynamic. They have a ton of length. They're really special defensively. They're rebounding a ton. They're giving them offense, and Jazir Crawford really taking care of the ball, and they're letting Devin Bay become a superstar. So Cross is slowly going to become one of those teams that you do not want to play down the stretch, especially in that BQ. And I think they're right there in that kind of 3 slot.
And I think that's the difference between them and a team like St. Francis Prep, right? Who doesn't really have good guard play, have a lot of young pieces there who are not experienced, right? So you take that away, then you got Big O there, and it's easy to double and triple team O. Now it's like, who else you going to go to? So with Holy Cross, they got the Musa, they got the Jazzy Crawford who are battle tested, right? Peyton, who's been there last year, right? So they got guys who are battle tested and ready to step up. Even Stephen Cox, who's a junior, right? Who are battle tested, who can sustain those blows, pause when it comes to those type of games when they playing against a Christ the King. So St. Francis, even though they was there in the beginning, they couldn't sustain it because that veteran leadership and those guys who are battle tested are not ready yet.
Yeah.
Or was it there?
I also think, it's so funny you mentioned scoring points. We don't talk about them enough. Medley has done such a good job under Coach Turnage of being a quality guard and a quality piece, too, that just makes Cross even dangerous. So to see Cross win that game, and then you're also talking about Prep, who we got to see on Thursday. They made that comeback, like you said. They have the talent. O was getting doubled and crushed. But they hung tough. They got the lead, but Christ the King too much, and that's why, Pooh, I'm dying to hear your opinion. I think they're the top of the class at the BQ. Them and Nazareth are right there. Who would you kind of give the slight edge to? I know we haven't seen Nazareth in some time, but they're doing a great job. And, Coach Gary's really got these guys locked in. So who do you think?
Oh, man, that's kind of tough because they both have those extra pieces, but I may just give the edge to Nas, but then besides Johnny Magna, right? Besides Johnny Mags, Johnny the Gun, you got these two guys.
And listen, I think Nas is so tough and going to be such a hill to climb for these guys. But right now, I got to lean Christ the King, who I just think they're having so much fun together. I just wrote an article for Made about how these guys are rejuvenating Coach Arbitello. That was the most fun interview I've had with him since I've been around him. He's loving hoops. These guys are all playing for each other. Christ the King's only going to get stronger, and these sophomores, like you said, are outstanding. Skylar Ragoon looks completely different, and Aaron Ellis looks like he might lead the Catholic League in scoring one day. So Christ the King is looking tough.
But you got Jaden Blackamore, and you have my guy AJ Moody, who is playing lights out right now,
So good.
right? And these guys are battle tested. They've been there for years, so they know. So I'm leaning towards Nas to kind of edge out Christ the King in that battle, because they have veterans on their team. Justin Delgado, another one that you got to deal with.
Is going to be a problem for Christ the King. He's an absolute monster. He's going to be just on full beast mode every time he goes for a rebound against Christ the King. So I love that you're going Nazareth. I'm leaning Royals right now. It's funny. They play towards the end of the year like twice in like 3 or 4 games, right, Pooh? So
Right, yeah.
we'll find out quickly towards the end of the year who's leading the pack. But I think it's those two guys right now, Pooh, for the BQ, and I think it's going to be them for the rest of the way right now.
Yeah, Nazareth is stacked with so much talent, and Coach Irvin, I think, after having the last couple of years that he's had, I think he's ready to take it to the next level. Again, you got Kamari Hamilton, you got Malik Kamara, right? You got so many guys that's on that team. Troy Smith, all right? T-Shawn Trammell. These guys are loaded with guys who can, get buckets, put themselves in position on defense, and shut down the other team. So it's definitely going to be a great game when they meet up.
Yeah, especially when Coach Irvin could kind of mass sub the way he does and kind of coach on the fly and get these guys right back in like he likes to. And honestly, rely on guys to give him a couple minutes to actually coach these guys up because, he, like you said, he has so many talented guards. And even losing a guy like Valero, you replace him with Kamara, who's an absolute stud. I mean, that's going to be really tough. But what do you think of the other side, Pooh? I'm starting to see some craziness, whether it's some scores from Rays or some things going on with Hayes. I know that Prep's looking strong. Who do you think is kind of emerging as that second team that might kind of get to the Final Four here? As you know, we're in the first little quarter of the season so far.
Man, man, you got St. Ray's, St. Peter's, Scaling on the Prep, Cardinal Hayes. I think it's gonna be a battle between Hayes and St. Ray's, right? Because St. Ray's with Tar Arrington, Najee Best, Ibrahim Kamara, Hassan Cisse, right? You know, you got Zaire Johnson that's been playing very well.
Yeah,
So it's they got a lot of veteran quality players on their team that can, you know, uh, kind of get themselves up there close to Stepanak, but everybody just fighting for number two right now.
yeah. I think it's an interesting question. I think it might be a team that maybe we're not even thinking of. I think Iona Prep is the safest bet right now. I think Coach T is really killing it with these guys, getting these guys to play extremely well defensively. I mean, they put Brandeis to sleep within like 3 minutes. Boo. This game is over. Uh, they're dangerous. I think the way that they could shoot it, Mike Kometz, the Wolf boys. I think that they got talent. Plus, they may have the best interior defender that's not on Stepanak in Elijah Joseph.
Elijah
Starting to
Joseph,
play really
monster.
well.
Yes, yes. And they're 6-0. They're 2-0 in league play,
Yep.
right? They're a step over St. Ray's. Cardinal Hayes is 1-3. Okay, so it may be on the prep St. Raymond's at the end when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and I like that you said Hayes because Hayes has a ton of talent. Coach Loads is an absolute savant when it comes to getting guys open looks. Malik Fields is playing like a grown man, playing completely different. I mean, even guys that were like, "Listen, I'm not even sold on this guy as a Division 1 player." Like, what the heck has gotten into Malik Fields in the past 6 months? I mean, he looks incredible, but there's just a lack of focus, I think, from the rest of the guys to understand how important this is to guys like Malik, Nasir Campbell, who puts his heart and soul into every second that he's on the floor for the Cardinals. I think they got to play with more urgency and realize what's going on because they will get laughed by Iona. Mount is dying to knock somebody off, and Iona Prep will gladly take it if St. Ray's won't.
You're right. When we think about Hayes, few of their players were not playing. We don't know whether sick or suspension. We don't know, but
Yeah,
they haven't been really consistent, right? We
yeah,
we talked about a player being removed from the team. Uh, who knows what's going on there? So
yeah.
when things are shaky in the program, and it doesn't make for a good fit when it comes down to league play, especially in that really tough Captain School league.
Yeah, and Pooh, just to wrap up the rest of the Catholic League, and we could hit on some PSAL from what you want to talk about too. Uh, for the A, St. John's Prep, Pooh. Holy smokes. Coach Higgins has got these guys looking like a double A squad already.
Listen, I told you, I said it that first game. I said,
Oh,
yo, they're gonna win it again.
right? Holy smokes, do they look good. And another guy I want to shout out is Kennedy Catholic, man. They are just a talented
Mm.
group. We love Coach. We got to have Coach on. He's doing such a good job, and he's got such a great story. We Kennedy Catholic really doing their thing too. I want to shout them out, but man, St. John's Prep is ready, man.
St. John's Prep 5-0. 7-0 overall. You got Salesian 4-1. St. Joseph by the Sea 4-2. Yeah. Xavier 2-1. Farrow 2-4. Fordham Prep 1-3. More Catholic 1-3. Look, again, they're probably 1 or 2 games off because the Catholic school. I'm reading it from their website, so things may be off, by 1 or 2 games. So we gotta figure it out. In the B division, let me just read this off real quick. In the B division, of course, Regis still up there doing their thing, 2-0. Cardinal Spellman looking good, 2-1. Salute to our guy Mo Hicks. Kennedy Catholic, who you talked about, 2-1, 4-2 overall. Right? LaSalle 2-1, Cristo Rey 1-4, and Sacred Heart struggling after that great year last year.
Now, what are you hearing about the PSAL through the first couple of games? Because there's been a ton of league play already, no?
Yeah. And, I want to talk about the Queens 4A Forest Hills. They're steamrolling the competition. 7-0 record. They steamrolled over Queens High School of Teaching, 69-42. Wow. Zion Hamilton dropped 24 points. Pregnon TD, 17 points, 10 rebounds. And our guy Aaron Tutt, 14 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds.
Man, Coach was not lying saying that they were coming for not all of Queens but everybody this year, man. Holy smokes. What a red hot start. And he is getting contributions from all these guys. So shout out Coach, really doing this thing. That's awesome to hear, man.
Yeah, big time player. Zion Hamilton doing this thing, leading the pack, and Pregnon, he did this thing last year in the playoffs, and he's a double-double, always waiting to happen.
Another college guy, 100%.
Yeah. Who else we have on here? Eagle Queens. All right, 6-1 record. With their only loss coming from Far Rock. Now Far Rock is 5-2, right? With losses against August Martin and Eagle Academy Queens. So Eagle Academy and Forest Hill split 1-1, right?
Far Rock split. Far Rock.
Yeah. Because after Far Rock beat them. Eagle beat them the first game. Far Rock bounced back yesterday with a 50-45 win against Eagle.
Shout out everybody at Far Rock, baby. Wow.
Man, listen, they were led by Starling Mauricio with 20 points, 13 rebounds. Marcus Gully, 13 points, 9 rebounds. And Adam Smalls with 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists.
Let's go, man. Far Rock is rocking right now. Let's go, man. That's huge. That race is gonna come down right to the end, I think. Wow.
Nah, they doing a great job. I also want to pull up this game right here because one of my kids going to get a kick out of this once I mention this right here. Here we go. Okay, Van Buren. Okay, we haven't talked about them in, I don't think, in any of the seasons. Maybe one season we talked about them. But Van Buren has been playing very well. They have a much improved team. They're 3-4, but their 3-4 record is not indicative of how they've been playing because they got blown out by Cardozo in the first game, right?
Okay.
Because they ain't beat Cardozo, I think, in over 15 years.
Damn.
But then they bounced back and beat Cardozo 62-58. 62-58.
Wow.
Okay? 62-58. And they were led by Sharif Kroom. All right? He had 20 points, 9 rebounds. Marquise Campbell, 19 points, 6 rebounds.
Oh, man. Big
boy. Yeah. Praise
Put it up, Pooh. Put it up.
Okinaquo, 10 points. And look, 62-58. I spoke to Coach Leclario, and he told me, he said, listen, man, we got a kid that's hurt, a kid that's ineligible. We're down right now. And they
Wow.
took advantage of that. Even though they played them tough, Van Buren came out because the first game, as you can see, Cardozo blew them out,
Yeah.
right? Cardozo blew them out the first game, but then, they called him slipping. And Crooms have been averaging 15 points, 9 rebounds. Okay?
Love it.
So salute to Sharik Crooms over at Van Buren High School.
The Van Buren boys, Pooh. You remember this from Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Like, grab the salt chicken.
That's right. That's right. Sharif is he's averaging 14 and 8. Marquise is averaging 12 and 5. And they're the 2 top scorers for that team. So salute.
Hey, would not want to play them. Would not want to play them down the stretch.
Those one of those schools, right?
Yeah.
One of those schools you don't want to meet up against because you never know what might happen.
Yeah. What else are you hearing in the PSAL? I mean, I'm hearing tomorrow, pretty big matchup going on.
Well, let's talk about that. Hold on. We're going to hold on for that. We're going to hold on for that because we got a lot to say about that. All right. We're going to move to
where else? We hit Queens. Where else we hitting?
We're going to hit the Brooklyn 1A. Brooklyn 1A. Summit Academy is having a good year so far, despite losing star player Justin Rodriguez to Canarsie and their head coach Phil Grant to Robeson. Summit High School is 5-1.
Wow.
So salute to Summit Academy, for keeping it going.
Let's go.
After losing their star player and their great coach. Man. In the Brooklyn 2A, you got Adams Street. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Summit Academy is 5-1. Yep, I said that. And the Brooklyn 2A, Adams Street and Benjamin Banneker are both 5-0. 5-0. All right? And the Bronx 3A, Christopher Columbus is 7-0. Truman 6-0. Evander Childs is 6-1.
Wow. Stacked.
Got some heavy hitters up there in the BX who are doing very well. They haven't played lately, but I definitely want to shout out their records because they're doing well. So salute to all my guys up in the Bronx 3A. In the Brooklyn 3A, George Westerhouse remains undefeated. And we have to attend the game. I need to know, when does George Westerhouse play against Achievement First? That's what I need to know. Because they're both are undefeated. Yeah, they both are undefeated.
Wow.
They're both are undefeated.
We would have to go to the West.
Yeah, we definitely. George Westerhouse is 7-0. Achievement First is 6-0. Okay, let me see if they play each other. Let me see. I need to see their schedule. Nope, they're only. Oh. Hold on. George Westerhouse, January 24th. We got to make that. That's going to be game of the week right there.
That might be perfect.
Please mark on your calendar. All right, January 24th for sure.
Perfect, man. I love it.
At the house.
At the house. Ooh.
No doubt. George Westerhouse beat Brooklyn Tech 83-75. And again, Achievement First is still undefeated with a 6-0 record. So all in all, the city's okay.
Hey, listen, Achievement First may have lost a non-league game to someone on Long Island, but we won't talk about that.
Talk about it, coach. Talk about it, coach. Oh, they got smacked, didn't they?
I'm
By
pretty
20?
sure I'm pretty sure your boy Mello from St. Thomas put it on him. I might be wrong, but that's what I thought. That's what I thought I heard.
Well, listen, tomorrow, big action. Big action tomorrow.
Shout out our guy Sage Media with the stream, baby.
Yeah, because we won't be at that game.
Well, where is it? Where is it? Pooh? Is it in the nest?
No, it's at Thomas Jefferson.
It's in the current. It's in the orange current. I got you.
Yes, yes, in the orange wave. Tomorrow, I have an event that I have to attend tomorrow. Uh, the Well Ball event, right? I don't know if you know about this, guys. The Well Ball event is. Let me read this off real quick.
Do you think, baby?
Yeah, let me promote this real quick because my guy, uh, Stephon Marbury, is definitely a part of this. It's the pickleball of basketball.
Oh, I
That's
heard.
what it.
I heard
Yes, yes, yes. Right.
their
It's a
best
non.
player is like 80 years old.
There you go. It's a. I think it's a 70-year-old guy. Yeah, he's like one of the best. It's a non-contact sport focused solely on shooting basketball and mental toughness, for sure.
I
So
heard.
I'll be going out there to support um my guy Steph Marbury. I'm going up to the Bronx tomorrow, and we got something. Oh, I forgot to tell you too. I gotta call you off air and let you know what we got in store for this year. Basketball head supremacy game.
Ooh, baby, let's go. Also, Pooh, how was your podcast debut with my Long Island friend over there? The wavy, the
Oh,
wavy.
the wavy world. Listen, it was awesome. It was awesome. Today I got into a heated debate with a friend of ours. Salute to my guy Ra, for Sean Bell's All Star Coach Ra, and people was kind of shocked when I told them that Tiny had some of the best handles that I've played or
That was
saw.
that was an awesome clip. Awesome clip.
Listen, people don't understand. Tiny was the human press breaker. We didn't even have to. We didn't have. Most guys. You put a guy in the middle. You pass, pass, pass. We didn't have to do that. Just get a ball to Tiny, and it was a wrap.
Love it, man.
They couldn't trap him.
That's so valuable, man, that people don't talk about.
Yeah. So, and there's more clips coming on the way. Salute to my guy Wavy and Haran and the whole crew up there. Wavy World Podcast. I had an awesome time. Salute my guy. Arliss Michaels, who was up there as well, who got his interview after me. So, man, just salute to the whole crew up there, man.
Yeah, that was
CK,
so
who are you talking about? CK, who are you talking about? You said who? Before we get out of here. Let me know, CK. We gotta bring you on because we definitely, I think, next week we're gonna bring on Haran from Wavy World because they're having an event at Springfield Gardens with 32 teams.
nice.
The same weekend that the Jordan Classic is happening.
Okay.
So depending on the games, I may have to split just to go up there and check it out. But we're gonna bring him on so he can promote his event. All right, and we go from there, man. But
Love
yo, CK, I don't know who you're talking about. I want to try to get you to your question before we get out of here. We definitely gonna have to bring you on so we can highlight some of the players that you've been sending us in the group chat on IG, so we can keep abreast of what's going on upstate.
it. And listen, man, we're busy the next couple of weekends, so enjoy this weekend. We got the Jordan Brand Holiday Classic coming up. We got the Gary Charles Classic coming up. The Shooting Stars at St. Francis Prep. We got a ton of stuff coming up. So Listen, if we're in your gym during the week, like Pooh said, you better bring it, man. You better bring it because we're looking for some elite competition, trying to find out who the stars of the league are, and we're giving guys at all levels shots. We've been Brooklyn College, we've been all these different places. We've been on different floors all over New York.
And Milwaukee with no elevator. It's crazy.
Man. Unbelievable. I mean, if you'd have seen me walking around Lockman looking for the front entrance, everyone going, look at this idiot doesn't know where the side entrance is.
But you may miss it. You'll walk past it and not know it.
I walked by it twice. And meanwhile, I've been in there like 10 times as the coach. It's just unbelievable. I just walked right past it.
So I went through the front door. The guy at the front door recognized me, so he walked me all the way through the building so I could go outside the building and go next door just so I could go upstairs. Amazing.
Seriously.
Well, listen, let's both keep our eyes and ears on the Eagle game. So who you think wins before we get out of here?
Wow, right on the spot. You know what? I'm ready. I'm rocking with my boys, Eagle, Brooklyn. I think Lee Robinson continues to ascend and take off, and the big boys, Hunter Frazier and Jaden Howard, step up and have two of the best games that they've had this season. I think it's Eagle. I think that they get it together, even though Trevor Lewis is looking like a man on a mission right now for Jeff. But I'm rolling with you.
Yeah, I spoke to my guy, too, upstate New York about Trevor Lewis. We're going to send him his information, right? So definitely jumping on that early. And Eagle, man, because I know last year they beat Eagle by 50 at Jeff. So, you know, these guys don't forget.
Coach Hamilton's not forgetting, I'll tell you that.
They already know. They coming in there with a chip on their shoulder, and they coming there to slay the dragon.
Hey, man, Rich Shack's going to give them all they can handle. You know that? That rivalry alone is going to have the place jumping, isn't it?
Man, if Rich Jackson get off and scores 30 or 40, we got to give them all the props. But they going to do everything they can to lock Rich down. You will not score. Everybody else going to beat us, but you will not score.
It's going to be a great battle, and it's just like, what?
Lee Robinson versus Rich Jackson.
It's like part one of maybe 3 or 4 times these teams are probably going to face off. So it'll be great to see. I can't wait I'm going to pop on the stream and see what's going on.
Suppose Jado Swan walks in the building, puts on a uniform, and he fools everybody and says, I'm playing with Jeff tonight, this afternoon, and I'm staying home, baby.
Well, listen, I would love to have probably 5 to 7 teams take a lie detector test that I played in my career. Who JV was playing down in his freshman game against St. Anthony's to give them the belt, because some of these kids definitely were not on those freshman rosters, man. But the city always had those slick players going from JV up down to freshman. But always a pleasure every time we got to play the city and see that competition, man.
No doubt. Yo, B, listen, enjoy the rest of your night, man. I'm going to try to get up out of here. Go wish my people's happy birthday, man. Salute to my guy, Pat Alphonse. Hopefully it's not too cold out there. If not,
hey, shout out Coach Mazzaroni, 200 wins, baby.
Woo! Coach Pat! Congratulations, my guy.
And the podcast is doing well, Pooh. Everything's starting to click, man. They're looking good. First win in City of Palms. Darius Ratliff basically perfect. People still can't believe how impressive he is. Stepanak rolling, baby.
Yo, Pat, bring us on the podcast, baby. Bring us on the podcast. It's only right.
Shout out KD, baby. You're the man.
No doubt. I'm going to holler at y'all. We out. Y'all know what it is. High School Basketball Weekly, baby.
Next week, baby. Peace.
We out.